Hideo Nomo. Will he win Rookie of the Year? Well, it's either Nomo or Chipper Jones. A lot of people think that he shouldn't be eligible, or some do, because he has a lot of experience pitching in what amounts to the Japanese Major League. But the rules simply state first year in these major leagues and you're eligible. The bigger question is for Nomo, will he be back again as a Dodger next year?
I think that's a no-brainer. I think they've got to sign him. I think he's put them in a position where they've got to sign him.
Yeah, Fred Clare talked. He said, listen, we gave him $2 million to come over from Japan. That's not that much more than you sign a guy out of high school or college. So they have the money, and he certainly had a great year for him.
Brett Boone, as the Reds try to break it open. Runners at first and third and nobody out. And the infield has to play back at double play depth, so a ground ball to either of the middle infielders will result in a 4-1 lead.
Well, if you're a middle infielder here and the ball's not hit sharply, your play may be at home. I think I'd play the middle infielders halfway here. That way, that gives them the option to come home or go for the double play. If they see Morris break from third, they come home with the ball. I don't think you can afford to give up another run right here. I think you move the infielders in just a bit. Right. Not all the way in, but halfway.
And Kevin Tapani, if he's been paying attention, he noticed that the pitch that Boone hit for the home run was a high fastball. He's got a good slurve and a great changeup. And that's what he throws right there. A ball that he throws like a palm ball, almost acts like a split finger.
Well, number one on his wish list right here is a strikeout. And number two is a double play bouncer by Branson next.
Well, he pitched a third of an inning in game two, gave up 3 walks and 2 runs.
Foul back, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You have to be very patient right here in this hitting situation. Left-handed batter on deck. Tommy Lasorda bring in Guthrie. Tapani, as you said, Al, going for the strikeout. Probably that slider off the plate and down. The same pitch he threw on the 0-1 count.
Ooh, just missing. 3-2.
Send the runner here.
I would.
You know, I wouldn't. And it's rare because a double play scores a run.
You convinced me. I didn't think about that aspect of it. And it's the old fake to third and try to get the guy leaning at first.
You know, it's amazing. You wouldn't think that works, but it does. Guys will try it. Jack McDowell, one of the best in the American League, and maybe 2-3 times. Get an aggressive runner at first, wants to get that big lead, and he gets picked off.
If Santiago were running and Boone strikes out, you throw Santiago out at second base. Then you have 2 outs and Morris on at third. Not cut and dry. It's an interesting. It's an interesting
situation here. And he doesn't go, and the pitch is in the dirt, and the bases are loaded.
Hey, Tommy running the risk of bringing a starting pitcher in to relieve. Now 4 walks in less than a third of an inning.
And
for Tapani.
That'll do it for Tapani as he faces the one man, and now Guthrie comes in with Branson due up, but Davey Johnson could go to the bench here as the Reds try to crack it open. Pitching change here. Let's check in with John Saunders.
The Braves are trying to fight back from down 5-3 against the Rockies. Munoz pitching to Mike Mordecai, and he finds the gap as Ryan Klesko comes in to score. Cuts it down to a 5-4 lead, but Leskanic gets out of the inning without further damage. And right now the Rockies still lead 5-4. It's in the 8th. Al, Jim, and Tim.
Rockies try to stay alive in that series, with the Braves leading 2-0. Mark Guthrie comes in, and the Reds go to their bench as Mark Lewis, who platoons with Branson at third base, will come up to hit here. And in the Cincinnati bullpen, their setup man, Mike Jackson, loosening up. Their short man is Brantley. A reminder, college football comes your way tomorrow at noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific time. Ohio State, ranked 5th in the country and coming off their win against Notre Dame, taking on Penn State. And then you will see the Irish at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific against Washington. College football tomorrow right here on ABC.
Yeah, Mark Guthrie in the game, as you said, the pinch hitter Mark Lewis. So both trying to make their marks, I guess you could say. And David Wells is also on deck. I think in a situation like this, you should have the pinch hitter, and you got Mike Jackson warming up. So Davey Johnson's probably going to pinch hit for David Wells. And if you have a hitter on deck, then the on deck hitter knows what to tell the base runner. A pitcher knows nothing about what goes through a mind of a base runner, whether to get down on a slide, play in the outfield, shallow play in the outfield where you've got to play at home plate. So since you're going to make the change anyway to a pinch hitter, you might as well have him in the on deck circle so he can help the runner out.
Why don't you manage?
No, thank you.
Well, he does about 78 times a year on WWR.
Oh, man.
In fact, didn't you teach a lot?
I've been accused of that before by Davey Johnson.
Exactly.
Yes, you have.
You got him that good. He must have listened. He probably went home and listened to all the tape.
I had nothing to do with that.
Mariners now leading 6-2 as the Yankees get a run in the 7th. Here,
they get to pinch hit with a guy that hit .339 during the regular season. 3 home runs, 30 RBIs.
and the infield in as Mark Lewis looks at a strike, and the count is 0-1. And now Dave Johnson, heeding the advice of one T-Mac, sends Mariano Duncan into the on-deck circle. One and one. 3 runs, 7 hits, and an error for the Reds. 1 run, 6 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. Nobody out, bases loaded, bottom of the 6th.
Check out those numbers. Started all 35 games at third base for the Reds against left-handed pitching.
Foul back, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Mark Guthrie, they got him along with Tapani to help their bullpen, and he can be tough, especially when he gets ahead. He's got a good splitter. If you're looking for a ground ball, especially a strikeout in this situation, he can get it.
Well, this is his only batter with Estachio, the right-hander, warming up. He'll come in to pitch to Duncan.
Two and two.
You don't want it to go much past 2-2 with the bases loaded. Because you do not want to have to give in to a guy that's been very, very tough against left-handed hitting. So get him here. Make your pitch.
John Cummings is the lefty. Anastasio, the former starter. And that's hit in the air to left field and over the head of Kelly, who goes all the way back to the track and watches it go out for a grand slam.
Davey Johnson talked about a guy, Mark Lewis, born 30 miles from here. He said, first of all, you want to win a pennant, you want to use your whole roster. And right here, you'll see him almost pass Brett Boone at first.
And a curtain call for Lewis, and Wells bats for himself.
Davey Johnson saying nobody works harder than Mark Lewis out here at 2 o'clock. You know, a guy that was always going to be the next shortstop in Cleveland gets traded to the Reds and hits a grand slam in the division series.
And that's grounded to short, surrounded by Fonville. And no, he doesn't get him. Wells beats it out. I think Lewis's grand slam gave Wells the adrenaline he needed to beat this one out.
It also gave Davey Johnson the option now of bringing Duncan back and putting Wells, leaving Wells in the ball game as he beats the play at first base. He only had 4 hits during the regular season.
I think he'll refer, I legged it out.
Yeah.
And Dave Wallace goes to the mound, and he wants the right-hander, Pedro Estacio, to come in to face Howard. So it comes apart for the Dodgers here in the 6th inning. Still nobody out, and it's 7-1 Cincinnati.